Here on set with us, Steve Kovach, our tech reporter, Dan Ives, managing director and senior equity analyst at Wedbush Securities, Ina Fried, chief technology correspondent at Axios. Welcome to all of you. All right, Steve, I'll start with you. Anything since the news last hour that now 700 of the 770 employees are threatening to resign?
Not much movement there, but I will say the conversation has kind of shifted. And we touched on this a little bit last hour at the top of your show. The conversation has kind of shifted to this disbelief that Altman is even ever going to join Microsoft. It's kind of this idea that with so many employees threatening to walk out the door, there's no company left to manage. So the board may have no alternative but to invite Altman back under those conditions he was requesting over the weekend.
What were those conditions?
Unclear, but basically no more board members. I know Brett Taylor has been the former Salesforce co-CEO. In that letter was named by name as someone they want to be a director on the board. I believe that was also being tossed around over the weekend as well as part of conditions for coming back, some kind of voting power perhaps. But look, if he doesn't join Microsoft, then Microsoft kind of has egg on its face after making this big announcement early in the morning before markets open, saying we're bringing Sam in and his team and his group of close confidants
Although
to do this.
arguably it'd be better for Microsoft for OpenAI to be something of what it was a week ago versus the shell of a company it could remain.
Or the other thing that we've been talking about is, are they acquiring a company for basically next to nothing? I know we talk a lot about how much Microsoft has invested in OpenAI, 10 billion, 13 billion. They haven't paid all that money, and a lot of that value is tied up in things like credits for using their cloud service. So it's not like Microsoft has written a check and owns this big stake. There's still a lot more money kind of in flux around there, too.
You know, what do we know about how this all spun out of control and got so out of round?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's pretty unprecedented. I've spent the weekend reporting on it, and no one's seen anything like it. You know, it's very clear that there were a lot of things that weren't taken into account when these decisions were made by the board, just looking at the communications and not consulting. As we broke on Friday, they gave Microsoft, their biggest partner and investor, 1 minute notice. So it was clear from the moment that this was going to be a bigger deal than they anticipated. This isn't just like, oh, we'll replace the CEO. Again, it's unprecedented. It's hard to think of adjectives.
Dan, who owns OpenAI and who's going to own it?
Look, I mean, this was a clown show by the OpenAI board, and ultimately it's really now Microsoft and Nadella that are going to own OpenAI in terms of Altman, Brockman, everyone that's at Microsoft. And now OpenAI, for all intents and purposes, is almost a shell company. I mean, everyone now really goes to Microsoft. I'd argue Microsoft is in a stronger position today than they were in a Twilight Zone scenario, than they were before this all started on Friday. And I just think, Tyler, I think it's an example of this board were like 8-year-olds playing checkers, and Nadella, the grandmaster chess player, ultimately is really the one that came in, swooped in, and now it's really Microsoft for the victory.
The only question I have about that, Dan, and I think absolutely Microsoft has done everything it can to kind of smooth this over, what about the ChatGPT product? Still an OpenAI product. This company is now in complete disarray, and there's clients who are trying to figure out, because they have to use it today and tomorrow and the next day, do they need to quickly go find a substitute or not?
And that's a great point. To that point, the software has already been fully integrated. So in terms of like, and Steve knows this, like that's key where the technology is. So Microsoft felt that they were in a position of strength to do this as well. And look, their back was against the wall when this all started. Right now, it's not just about technology. They're going to have all those developers, Altman, Brockman in-house. And I think this could ultimately start for them to even focus on chips in terms of where it goes.
And you're asking who owns ChatGPT. It almost doesn't really matter, because what we saw Microsoft do in January of this year was take that foundational technology that OpenAI made, integrate it into Bing. They have Bing Chat. They have Bing Chat Enterprise, which in a way kind of competes with ChatGPT. Microsoft is selling that product to businesses. You can use it to code or do whatever you would with ChatGPT. So again, if OpenAI like disappears by the end of today, that product will still exist, still operate fine. Microsoft can still sell it.
You know, what does happen to OpenAI, the company? Does it cease to exist?
Well, there's two scenarios right now. One is that, you know, Microsoft, they do indeed, most of the company decamps to Microsoft, and then there isn't OpenAI as we know it. The other, and I think we should point out, this is probably certainly a likely scenario, if not is as likely, is that ultimately under this much pressure, the board does relent, resigns, and we go back to having an open AI. I think either way, Microsoft is in a stronger position. I totally agree with Dan. Either they have more control of OpenAI than they did before, or OpenAI employees work for Microsoft. I think the point about developers is important. There are a lot of people, startups that have built their company that don't have the position Microsoft does, that do rely on open APIs that rely on their technology. And there's a lot of concern about that. OpenAI, everything's working today as it should be and probably can for the short term. But I think a lot of companies that built their business depending on OpenAI are certainly wondering about that choice right now.
Am I right, Dan, that Microsoft owned some 49% of OpenAI? So who owned 51%?
So 49, and then there were other investors. In terms of, if you think about the way this was structured, Microsoft did not have a board seat. But the best way to think about it is that 10 or 13 billion that they ultimately paid, they're now, let's call it 90 billion in terms of valuation. They got 90 billion for 13 billion, because it's almost like
not even 13. They didn't even pay all that. Yeah.
So they bought think about like one room in a house and now own the house.